Well, aren't you lucky that I'm here
I'm
to
very lucky
keep
that
you
you're
on
here
track?
to keep me on track.
So tell me more about this yoga that you're into. This crazy person.
Power. I think I'll start at page powerlifters that love yoga, and there might be 12 of us ever. The yoga, I just think because powerlifting and strength and so what I was doing before with rugby and bodybuilding and all those things, they're so what's the word? Like you're always smashing things up, essentially. It's not gentle. Powerlifting isn't gentle, not one bit. And I like
it's
the
not gentle.
gentleness
No.
of yoga, but it requires like a really high level of strength to make it feel good.
I disagree with that 100%. You can still enjoy powerlifting or running at
no, I
people
mean
in
yoga
football or whatever.
Like I think powerlifting and rugby is fun no matter what. I think you could be lifting an empty 20-kilo bar and it would be fun. It's great. I think for me, yoga requires a few extra ingredients to make it fun. And I found the stronger I got, the better the better I got at yoga, and the more enjoyment I got from holding poses for extended periods of time. Yeah.
Hey, you're crazy ass. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned earlier that you can see a distinct relationship with yoga between flexibility of the body and flexibility of the mind. So what, when you don't get a chance to do your yoga, do you feel kind of, I don't know, how do you feel? Do you feel stressed out? Do you tense? Do you feel locked in? Do you feel like you're not open to new thoughts? Explain what you mean about this?
I like this roller reversal we're doing here, Peter. This is fun. If I don't do yoga or mobility, and my yoga, I've added pieces to it over the years, so it's not traditional yoga. Yeah, I
added this.
I add bits and pieces,
so
there's a wrestler that I loved when I was growing up called Diamond Dallas Page. So DDP he calls himself, and so there's DDP yoga, and so Diamond Dallas Page, with all of his injuries and having beat himself up from being a pro wrestler for so long, he came up with a type of yoga where he adds a few bits and pieces as well. And so I took from his thing as well. And so sometimes I'll use bands and kettlebells, or I'll add a whole lot of strength to it as well. So you often see, so you mentioned downward dog before. People get into that, nice triangle, and they kind of hang off their joints.
The triangle, yes.
And I go, oh, that just looks, to my mind, it looks really ugly because it's just hanging on connective tissue. If you see somebody flex all their muscles in downward dog, it looks amazing. It's beautiful. And so that's what I do. So I don't think, if I'm doing it right, I shouldn't be able to hold poses for minutes at a time, because I want the muscle involved in there. So if I'm doing that all the time, I just feel light, which is weird for a guy my size to say, but I just feel like really fluid and smooth and well lubricated, I guess.
The word is
buttery.
I give you a word? It's buttery.
Buttery.
Buttery. Yes.
I like buttery.
Buttery. Yeah. That's the way I feel after I've taken my Voltaren. Yeah. We feeling buttery now. We're ready to train.
How is training going for you? Going all right?
It's going all right.
Going
all right. Yeah, pretty good really, I suppose. Still, I've hit a few rep PBs, and my squat session on Thursday, 2 days ago, was the best squat session I've ever had.
How so?
Oh my God, really? Oh, yes. Well, top single wasn't terribly good, but all of the back downs.
That's a
pretty awesome. And I, hit volume PB. So I had to do three dubs at 127.5. Then I did 4 trips at 120. Then I had another trip to do, which I sensibly downgraded to 115. I could only do 2 reps. But and then because I paid for it yesterday, I was so tired. My legs were just tired, very tired. But I have learned, I have kind of learned a thing or two, I suppose, over the years. But it's really satisfying. Part of the joy of lifting, don't you think, is that when you're working on something, you're just tweaking one of your lifts, and it just comes together. And it was just one comment that Kelly made, my coach made, which was, I was dropping my head too much in the squats, and so I was consciously trying to bring the head in and raise my gaze. It was only learned enough over time to know that you don't make major changes, you make tiny changes. And so I raised my gaze, like I suppose it was about like that. And it made a huge difference. It was just really awesome to think that, I could still get improvements, and I could still get PBs, even if it's rep PBs, which hopefully will express in terms of better top sets, and hopefully will express the really good numbers at the Oceanias in.
Where's that? December, isn't it? December 6th or November? That's
November. No, November.
Oh my God.
Early-ish, November-ish.
I'm getting so confused with all the comps at this end of the year now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the IPF Oceanias as against the PA Oceanias. Anyway,
what different? It's is it a different ocean?
There are quite a few comps happening. I think they're having their Oceanias in Sri Lanka this year.
Interesting. So in Indian,
yes.
It's not Pacific Ocean anymore, is it? It's the Indian Oceania.
I mean, there's a lot of civil unrest in Sri Lanka. Anywho, it would be a very interesting country to visit. However, I would not like to be trying to put on knee sleeves in that humidity.
Yeah.
It's bad enough now in Brisbane. It's what usually happens every year in Brisbane. We have, it's hot, freezing for about 6 weeks. So then the next day it goes hot, and then it just gets hotter and hotter. So we're we've just had our very brief winter, which has probably lasted about 6 or 8 weeks or something, and now we're straight.
And of course, you guys just go humidity's
issues trying to get on.
And it's always humid in Brisbane, it seems. No,
this time of year, no. But but when it gets into December, it's like somebody flicks a switch, and then it's humid right up until March. It's awful.
How do you deal with it?
Hate the humidity. You just put up with it and whinge about it. You just try to try to access air conditioning all the time. Luckily, the Zero Southside gym that I train at, which is literally only 3 minutes in the car down the road, they turn on the air conditioning.
Oh, beautiful.
In summertime, so it's lovely. And then with weather like this where it's not humid, they just open up the big roller door at the back and open the front door, and there's this beautiful cross breeze that comes through. So it's a very very pleasant gym to train in. So squats are going well. Touch wood. Deads are going pretty good. I had an issue there for a while, my left hand grip, where because I'm a dynamic setter-upper in my deadlift, and I don't start close to the bar or with my hands on the bar. I actually start over the bar and then go down and pick it up all in one big swoop. And and I wasn't attacking the bar and gripping the bar properly on my left hand, so I was having a few grip issues there for a while. But I went to see Josh over at Perth Motion, and he diagnosed the issue, and he prescribed concentration
nice.
calories.
Yeah.
Which takes me right back to the old bodybuilding days, right? It's like, oh, concentration calories, you're kidding. And it's like magic. It's like, oh, it's fixed. So Dad's going, benches, well, I hate bench press. I hate it. I really do. I'm at that point now. I'm a very persistent and determined character, okay? I have persisted through horrible injuries and pain. I've done so many rehabs of various things, I had the mastectomy and rehabbed that. I had I've had a terrible time over the last 2 years with palmar psoriasis, which makes it, and I can't use dry chalk. I have to use liquid chalk because the dry chalk is too drying on the psoriasis on my hands. The whole hands peel at times, and it's just, there's just so many things where I've thought, is it worth it? Is it worth this? And the answer so far has come back with, of course it is. And, you just persist and you overcome. And you find a solution and a way forward, and you access the expertise that you need to. And you just, and slowly but surely sometimes with patience, these things are resolved and recovered from. But bench press, I have tried many, 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 many things over the years. And I'm sure the only reason why I'm benching 70 kilos on the regular now is because I weigh so much. I'm a fat fuck. Okay? I'm fat. And so I think the only reason why I'm benching 70 is that I weigh friggin' close to 100 kilos, right? Otherwise, I would be, if I go back in time to when I was a lot lighter, I'm lifting probably the same amount, relatively.
Yeah,
Do you
right.
know what I mean? I just can't get it. And I have tried all sorts of things. People have given me tips along the way, and some of those tips have really been very effective. Like, they have improved the way I do the exercise, but it's not resulted in an increase in the number. So, okay, that's
no. We're gonna go into
bench
bench pressing now. What's the best tip you've ever had? Let's see if I can help you out a bit.
It's not the best tip. It's a couple of tips. So Chris at Perth Motion taught me how to press into my toes. Right, press into my toes to get my leg drive. And once he taught me how to do that, it was like, right, I get the leg drive thing now. Okay, I get it. I could, so the leg drive thing, I don't think is a real issue. I don't think. Dave at Perth Motion taught me a little bit of a grip change, but I've lost that over time. I've lost it over time, and because of this issue with my left wrist. This is a very long-standing issue, which is actually I acquired when I was training for sports aerobics or dance.
Oh, yeah, we're going to get into that later. We're definitely getting into that. I got to know about sport aerobics.
I'll explain how I got that problem, and it's never recovered. And then Josh at Perth Motion taught me properly how to breathe and how to try to get the chest up. And that Josh's cue was probably, if I was to evaluate everything, was the most effective. Absolutely, was to try to get the back of the neck down as you kind of lift that chest up. And but that was probably the most effective tip, if I'm honest.
How did they teach you to breathe? I'll explain. There's a lot of cues and like ways people go, this is just how we coach. Everyone does it this way. that I don't think a lot of people realize that not everyone does that. And there's a lot of these little bench ones that I see nowadays that I never did, and my friends, they also never did. So this is what I'm saying. Like maybe there's some options there that, and I don't want to sort of bash other coaches and say they're not right, but this is where I kind of pull rank and go, I'm really good at this, and I've taught a lot of people to be really good at this. I've got a 20-year. I've held the record for almost 20 years. Like I know.
Look, I know. You're
and I
fabulous
think we
bench
way
presser.
we overcomplicate benching. Way overcomplicate it.
It's so much to think about.
And there shouldn't, and that's my thing, is there shouldn't be. This is, like working with Ben Wright. He's over at World Championships at the moment. He's been the best para bencher for 10 years. We make everything so stupidly simple. Right? And everything is a throw. In bench pressing, it is a throw. It is not a press. We don't need to worry about toes, necks, wrist position, any of that. Treat it as a throw. If you just got try this, all right? And people at home, try it. Get a heavy medicine ball, and for a week, every day, just throw the ball as hard as you can, like a chest pass. It's like you're benching a medicine ball. Yeah, and
like a
netball chest pass.
Like a netball chest
as
pass.
hard as you can against the wall until it slows down. And then come back out the next day, do it again. Just throw that thing hard, aggressively, really just 5 days worth. And then tell me your bench isn't better in a week.
Well, on that note, the other really good tip that I had quite recently, because I reached out to,
Yeah.
Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Yeah, Matt McKay. So
Matt?
And another guy whose career best performance has been when I coached them. Right? It's big bench presses.
Well,
right?
He gave me the throw.
Yeah.
He gave me the throw tip. Right? And I have been doing that for the last 2 weeks, I think it is. And yeah, that does make a difference.
It's a huge difference.
However, the numbers
still
on the
sliding.
are still here.
Try that medicine ball one. Like the throw, like obviously Matt got that from me. That's what I taught him. It's what me and Donovan Thompson used to talk about a lot. And like in terms of female benches worldwide, Donovan's wife, Jennifer, best of all time. And that's how we treat it. It's a throw and a push.
Yeah. Just heavy medicine ball. Bang, 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 bang. I don't know where I can get my hands on it, actually.
So we'll slide over to sport aerobics. And you would have done this in sport aerobics. Bunches. You know when you drop from a standing down into a push-up? And you just absorb the push-up? You've done a million of those. Yeah.
Back in the day, we are talking about, like, I've been sporty my whole life, okay? My whole life. I've been a swimmer, did gymnastics, netball, athletics. It's really good at athletics. Really good at the kind of the running and the jumping stuff, not the high jump, but the broad jump and the long jump kind of stuff. What else? Scuba diving. That takes a lot more effort than you would imagine.
I've never been as when I used to dive. I would always be way more tired from half a day diving than I would be from anything else I did. There's something about how the water kind of the water sucks energy out of you while you're not watching.
It's the weight of the bloody tanks on your back, mate.
Oh, see, I was free diving though. I didn't have tanks. I hold my breath.
Yeah. Scuba diving's the go. I last went scuba diving in New Zealand when I was over there for the Commonwealth Championships in
how cold is that?
And dived off. It was fucking freezing. They gave us the big thick 11 mil suits.
Gosh, yeah.
Long suits. Didn't wear wasn't wearing a hood. And I was amazed actually at how effective the thick suits were, because I'm used to the thin 7mm stuff. But that's when I realised that was probably going to be my last dive, because the weight of the tanks on my back, despite being strong in the legs and whatever, it was very demanding. Trying to get back on the boat was hilarious. Mm-hmm. No, we actually just took the tanks off and then hauled me up. That was good. But yeah, so I've always been athletic, and I've not been one to shy back from, okay, well, I'm in my 30s now and I've got 2 little kids. Why shouldn't I take up sports aerobics? Why shouldn't I? It's exactly the same now with powerlifting, Nathan. It's just like, why does the bar have to be down here for ancient 60-plus lifters? Why? It doesn't need to be. Why can't us 60, 50-plus, whatever? I'm really talking about the top decades in the masters, the real masters, because people in their 40s are still bloody young and sprightly, in my opinion.
You know?
And why shouldn't the bar be set higher for people in their 60s? And we are seeing more and more people in their 60s take up powerlifting. I saw some research online I reposted on my stories during the week, where the biggest growth in powerlifting is in the 60-plus age group. So I guess that's extraordinary. And so obviously, the bar is going to get higher and higher. The standard is going to get higher and higher. And, we'll soon be seeing people who are lifting extraordinary loads that, obviously 10 years ago, people would go, oh, my God, that's incredible. Now, why do we not just expect it?
That's a good question. Why don't we?
And it was the same with the sports aerobics. But I don't know. There's huge discrimination against masters.
Well, I think, like you see it in the
from
the
younger
from those little kids.
Not everybody. I'm just generalising, of course. And there's some days when I'd be more positive about it, and I go, oh yeah, everybody's really accepting and inclusive, and then other days where I go, young whippersnappers.
It all depends on how much. Does that depend on how much Voltaren you've consumed that day?
How much caffeine I've consumed? How much caffeine?
If your caffeine and anti-inflammatory levels aren't fully stocked up, it's bloody whippersnappers, kids these days.
That's right. That's exactly right. If I am fully caffeinated with my at least minimum 400 milligrams of caffeine before every session, it usually gets up to 500 milligrams in total, and my 2 Voltaren, it's 100, what's that, 25, 50 milligrams of Voltaren, and
everyone's beautiful. The world's a happy place.
Yep, I'm very generous. I have a generous and open mind. And then the next day, when it's time to recover, I don't take anything. I'll have a cup of coffee. Or today, just because I'm talking with you, I needed to have a quick pick me up. So I think this has got 150 in it. Where are we? Yeah, that's 150. It's quite nice actually. But I don't usually drink soda in the morning, but I'll have a cup of coffee. So on my off days, I won't take anything. I won't take any Voltaren, and I'll keep the caffeine low, because I think if you keep yourself caffeinated overly all the time, then the effect starts to wear off, and you don't get that hit that you want when you want it.
Start having to escalate after a while. Like, this coffee isn't working. Can I have some meth, please? Can you just?
And in fact, if I'm going for it to a big competition like nationals or whatever, or overseas or whatever, I won't be caffeinated. I will cut that caffeine right back, so that when I take the caffeine when I want it on comp day, it hits hard and fast and really effectively.
You remember that? It reminds me of a story. Do you remember that picture of me where I've just deadlifted and it's me kind of pointing at the crowd? Uh, Really happy photo. It was from before you started, but it got shared around a bunch. It's one of I'll
You should
repost it
repost
again
it,
with this
please.
episode because it's one of my favorite photos. Like it was
Yeah.
the photographer just got it at the perfect moment. It's a really joyful shot, and I like seeing myself so happy. But the story behind it is I had a double espresso and double ammonia caps right before that lift. Like I was
Holy
struggling
shit.
hard because uh, I'd flown over from Karratha. We were in the middle of moving from Karratha to Perth. I came over for Oceanias anyway, and I because I always did bench only and three lift. They put bench only right before the big super session that had me, Jesse Wapa, Stephen Pritchard, and a few Kiwis. Mm.
Just
So
before,
like
not the day
literally
before.
rolling into it. This is the stuff that a couple of
Oh
people, a
no,
couple of
that's terrible.
organizers would do this to me for years, and they thought it was funny, but I just went out and did it anyway. So the flight was warming up for squats when I was doing my third attempt bench for the bench only comp, and then I rolled straight into squat, bench, and deadlift for the three lift. And so by the time I got to my third deadlift, I was dead. I was absolute cactus. And yeah, and so was
You
Nev
were
Harris
fried.
from Melbourne. Good old Nev used to lift as a 75-kilo lifter when I met him. That was his idea. He got me a double espresso from the bar, and I just jammed two ammonia caps up my nose, shot at it, and pulled.
How did you see where you're going?
But
Were your
my
eyes just
eyes, by the
streaming?
time I was locking out, the vision was very, very narrow. Like I was getting close to passing out. It was a 10-second grinder. Like it was just hang in
No,
there, hang in there, hang in there. And Julian Perry from New Zealand was the chief ref. So when I put
that's
the
so
bar down,
funny.
he waited for
Oh
a
yeah,
few
yeah.
seconds before he
I've met
pressed his
him.
button. So there was a bit of drama, and it was fun. It was fun. It was so
That
good.
bastard.
But yeah, coffee and ammonia. Not even the first time I've done that. I once had an espresso and ammonia cap before school, before work. Yeah, I had to get. It was
Before
a hard day.
school.
Like the kids were little, the girls were very young. We'd been up. I needed to go to work. I needed the boost.
Holy
So
moly.
ammonia and espresso. It's a great combo. Great
Oh,
combo.
jeez. I tried ammonia once and I was crying so much that I couldn't see where the bar was on the platform. I was about to deadlift. I could not see where the bar was. So it was a complete disaster. So
I don't,
no, it's not
it's
for
not for
me.
me. It's not for many people,
Not
to be
for
honest.
me.
Like I love watching ammonia reactions. Like just people going, faces contorting, crying, nose leaking. What was that? Why would you do that?
Yeah.
Uh,
Reminds me of the kitty litter tray, you know? It's like, holy shit, after a
true,
week,
true.
holy moly. You're emptying it out like this, going, trying to keep it as far away
Right.
from you. Uh,
Nah,
yeah.
ammonia's good fun. Ammonia's really good fun.
I remember when I was in at the World Championships in Calgary, Canada 2019, I was sick as a dog with a really bad cold. I was so sick. And I couldn't get any energy up, couldn't muster anything. So I thought, oh, well, I'll just start caffeinating. And in those days, I was a newbie. I was a newbie to
Oh, really?
caffeine. You know, the most I ever had was like, oh, I might grab myself a Monster or a C4, can of C4. And it's like, wow, that hit was amazing.
You sound like
So
such a
anyway,
junkie. Listen to you.
back in the day. Well, yeah, but that was before I really knew how to dose myself intelligently with caffeine, and probably a little bit over the top. But anyway, and so I drank cans of V and had this and that and coffee and whatever. And anyway, by the time I went out to do my first deadlift, I fell on my butt, and the back spotter luckily caught me before I landed fully on my butt, right? That's not the first time that I've fallen backwards on the deadlift. Anyway, I managed to get 3 out. The third was one of those 15-second grinders, and Wilksy was one of the refs, and he red lighted me. Must have been somebody else. Must have red lighted me as well. My right shoulder was a little bit forward, but I was greying out. I was like, oh my God. And it was all of my determination and willpower. I'm going to stand up. I'm going to stand up. And it's like as you say, the world is moving towards a pinprick. You know, I'm like, I will not pass that. I will not pass that. I will not pass that. Managed to get it up, put it down, and kind of wobbled off. But it was, oh God, that was awful.
Have you ever actually passed out from deadlifting?
No.
Just
never.
Yeah.
Never. Have you?
Both times.
Wow. It would terrify me because I'd be afraid of landing and smashing.
Yeah, I went backwards both
teeth.
times. Both times was the third attempt Arnold Classic. It looks good.
Wow.
And I was fine, obviously. Pretty scary for Diane and the girls back in Australia. Watching watching on the live stream at like 2 a.m. or something silly, and dad or husband just falls over, and then they go to the next lifter, and you never would find out what had happened to me for hours.
Yeah, because the camera goes,
right?
And they don't want to show you being, are you all right, mate? Unloosen the belt and carting you off.
I think either the first or second time, I can't remember which. Amir Fazeli was with us. Do you remember Amir? From big deadlifter. I do. He wandered out onto the platform to pick me up. And I remember opening my eyes and I see his face looking down at me. And he just goes, you did it again, mate. I'm like, oh, shit. All right, let's get out of here. So we just got up, wandered off, and convinced people that I'm okay, so they'll let me go home, and that was it. So, but in hindsight, and this is really interesting, it would have been caused by the heart condition that eventually caused the strokes. Yeah. So it was.
I see. That's interesting.
So it almost got detected back then, but because of the way it panned out, it just didn't get detected. But, oh well. But the passing, it did lead us to a bunch of funny passing out stories of guys that I coached, because I'd then tell them that you have two options with the deadlift. You can either lock out or you can pass out. Take your pick.
I was telling one of the youngsters at the gym last night that, my philosophy on deadlifts is never give up. Never give up on a deadlift, except if you feel your back.
Let it go.
You go, nah, that's enough.
I think
and the amount of grind depends on how bad you want that bloody lift.
That deadlift I told you about before, like the 10-second grinder, that was in Sydney. John Myers handled for me that day.
Yeah.
That's why I grounded out. I remember thinking, like, literally, I can't put this down. If John Myers is here, I can't put the bar down, because I've watched that man do 20-second grinders for years up until that point. Like, I've never seen him quit on a deadlift. And I think that's why he was so good in as far as like M2 and M3 world records for deadlifting. He had so many because he was, like you, just relentless. Like, the bar doesn't go down. You're going to stand up eventually. So he would just stand up eventually. It's brilliant.
Yeah. Unless there's something catastrophic happening.
Yeah. So he was extraordinary to watch. Just him and Max Bristow.
Maxie. Yeah. He was pretty extraordinary.
Max still is.
He still is extraordinary. I'm talking about in the past. He still is. I haven't seen much of him though, because I don't think he's got a social media presence.
No, unfortunately.
And the only time I might see him is if he's spotting Courtney.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, Courtney. Gee, I've forgotten all about her.
Yeah, because she used to. Yeah, she used to occasionally train at his gym and whatever, and you'd see Maxie in the background. But yeah, the last I saw him compete was at Iron Underground. Oh, good Lord. I couldn't tell you, maybe 2015,
Yeah, right,
2016,
right.
somewhere around there.
I know he
Yeah.
competed a few years back. I spoke to, got a call from John Myers out of the blue, and I think Max had surgery and then was back on the platform 2 weeks later or something. Like something very Max-like. It's just he's a machine, you know.
Sounds like very Peter
Right?
Van like.
Oh, you had surgery? Oh, you had a heart attack? Of course you're lifting 2 weeks later. Why wouldn't you be? I think Max is incredible. Just incredible. And he's
Oh,
an
dear.
amazing
It's a
legacy in the sport
mindset.
with the amount of great lifters that
Yeah.
got their start in his garage. Mm.
Yeah, yeah. I, I couldn't tell you of any, of course, but I can imagine him doing that because he loved the sport so much.
I
You know,
remember
wanted to give people
I
their leg up
refereed
along the
him
way.
in 2008 in Newcastle at Nationals because he would still lift in the opens back in those days as well, and like he had a really slow squat, and you kind of used to seeing slow grinding squats and deadlifts. Max was able to do a slow grinding bench press. Like like
Oh God.
about 4 times in the consent as he's actually lifting the weight off his chest. I'm about to call replace the bar, and I'm like, oh no, it's still going,
Hang on. It's
and it
still
never
moving.
stopped.
It's still moving.
It never stopped. It never went down. It just slowly inched its way up, and I kept on. No, no. Oh, rack. He's got it. There was like 3 white lights. Max sits up, turns around, and goes, Nathan, that's how a deadlifter does it. Brilliant. Just so good.
Oh golly, yeah, I hate that feeling of grinding out a bench press. I will grind out a squat. I will grind it happily, grind out a deadlift,
It feels wrong, doesn't
not a
it?
bench
It just
press.
feels really wrong.
Nah. Yep. Well, you just know. You just know the reason why this is hard is because you are surely out of position. And then the next question that crosses my mind, and what is that right position, then, Peter? I don't know.
I figured out
I
about
don't know.
I figured out about 28 bad positions so far. I just haven't found the right one yet.
Yeah. You know when it's right, don't you? It's just so sweet. There's nothing better than when you get
Yeah.
a great bench press. And it's just so sweet. But those sweet moments are very few and far between for me. Of course,
I'll tell you,
to be honest, to be
if you don't mind,
brutally
I'll tell you a
honest,
little story about that
I
perfect bench thing.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
obviously I had it fairly regularly, so
yeah,
and so
obviously.
Rex Parsons, he was that young guy that I used to train. He had a massive bench as well, and yeah,
I know
and
Rex.
so
Yeah.
we called it the benchgasm. It was like giving the crowd an orgasm where everyone goes instead of cheering, and so it would always get it on either a first attempt or a second attempt. Go out at the end of the round and open 20 or 30 kilos heavier than everyone else, and just make it look better than everyone else's. And everyone, like the crowd, breathes in instead of cheers. They just go, and so we started
Mm.
saying, all right, that's our aim for our openers every time. And then we'll turn around and just say, you're welcome. But you're right. It was real cocky, you know, we're arrogant about it. But you're right. It's like when you get it right in the groove and you hit it, like you just go, yep, that's what a bench press should feel like. Oh, it's so good. So good. I never once felt that on a deadlift though.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Oh, right. Oh, God, I love it. I love it when it's just perfect on a deadlift. You've got the toes are down. You've kept the bar in nice and tight. The lockout just feels easy, and
Mm.
What a feeling.
It's like you're the most. It's like you've been made for that moment, isn't it? It's like you're the most you that you can be for about 5 seconds.
Yeah, yeah. You know, when when you're grinding out when I'm grinding out a squat, like, the only thing I'm thinking of is just stand it up, stand it up, stand it up. That's the only thing that's going through my head. Stand it up. When I'm doing a deadlift and grinding out a deadlift, there's a million thoughts that go through my head. It's amazing how much, I mean, it feels like it's like a 20-second kind of thing. You look back on replay and it's like, yes, it's slow, but it didn't actually take 20 seconds. It might have taken, 9 seconds or something. But it's amazing to me how much goes through my head during that
Interesting.
grinding, and it's, I'm exhorting myself and motivating myself and coaching myself. I make sure you keep that bar in close, Peter. Don't lose that form. Keep it tight, keep it tight. And we got it to the knees. We can get it mid thigh. And if you've got it mid thigh, then you can lock it out, Peter. And never give up on a deadlift. Come on, let's go. You've been in this position before, and you've done it before. You can do it again. And there are other times, when you, especially in a major competition, though, conversely, is when it comes off the floor so easily and you go, fuck, should have put 2.5 more on. That's But yeah, it's just crazy that it's like time. It's like being in I don't know, the time, the Time Lord's time machine, the TARDIS, and elongating the time.
Yeah, and so if we
Not that I like to do that. Okay, I don't
love,
like to do that.
You're spot on. Like that's would switch over to the topic that I'm always banging on about with flow. That's one of the elements of flow. So basically, you've nailed everything so much that you can stretch time out. I talk about bullet time because I'm in my late 40s, so I had the Matrix, not Doctor Who.
Shut up. I'm also familiar with the Matrix.
And so it feels like almost like you can walk around and you've got time to make corrections that you probably don't have.
It almost like you stand outside of yourself, and you can walk around and go and critique yourself and make sure you keep the bar nice and tight and keep that chin tucked in.
So I get that a lot with benching. Yep. So like just during this week in training, like I can remember one set in particular where the second rep of 3 of just, I don't know, acted like it was my first week in the gym for a rep and just threw myself out of position but felt it about halfway through coming out of position and then go, hang on, and then just slide everything back into place in real time, make the correction and basically pull everything back into the groove and finish the rep. So the third rep felt amazing. After the second rep, I don't know, I probably lost focus or allowed my mind to wander or something.
They were just practice reps. Sometimes I was talking to somebody just during this last week at the gym the other day, much younger person. Mind you, most of the people that I train with are a lot younger than I am. But she said, it's amazing. She said, my first rep of everything is always the worst, and the second and third are just perfect. Like, well, yeah, it is a bit like that. I mean, your body, you've got that. It's almost like the PAP, the post-activation potentiation kind of stuff, where the first rep kind of primes you, right? But certainly, like with a deadlift, for example, it's really applicable, I think, for a deadlift, where the first deadlift in a set is, but the second, third, and fourth are just, spot on and schmick and feel so easy and smooth, is because your body will put you into the right spot automatically for you to then repeat that second rep. And in fact, it's one reason why I don't do repetitive, consecutive deadlift reps in volume sets. I reset every single time. Number one, the platform that I lift on is extremely bouncy. And so doing rep sets before I adopted this method was just so easy because I could catch the bar.
Oh,
As it
kind of
was
like that
bouncing up, and
CrossFit method
it
where
was
you,
very
you, you slam the bumpers
easy.
down and you're just doing a little rack
Yeah.
lock out at the top. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So, I observed that happening on my videos. I went, this is not right. That's not the right way to train for me. Plus the thing is, I have to get better at getting my first rep perfect. How can I do that? Well, I can just practice it over and over and over and over again. So every deadlift rep set for me is a reset. And
Yeah, I've seen that
the
on your
number one
story a
rep.
bunch. Like,
Yeah.
I really, what's the word? Probably admire that and appreciate it, because it's so easy in training when you're doing reps is to make the second and third look really good by going touch and go, because all the muscles are locked back in the perfect position. You found it
Yeah,
already,
yeah.
and you literally,
Yeah.
yep,
The bars found its place on the floor, automatically without you even thinking about it. And so that's why the second and third and fourth reps is usually
yeah. So I see you, like,
easier.
you actually take a couple of steps. I see you move your feet sometimes even.
Because as I said, the platform that I lift on is so
Right.
bouncy that the bar travels. So every time the bar drops, it travels. Sometimes it travels a long way, and then other times it won't. But yeah, sometimes I'll need to, in fact, most of the time I'll need to readjust my feet. It's a total reset, but I do it. It's, drop the bar, stand up, see where the bar is, down we go again. So it's very
Yeah,
brief.
I really like it. I think it's a great discipline to get into. Like, I wish more people did it, Peter. I wish more people did it.
Well, I think it depends on your goals and your aims. It's similar to me. I would imagine, not that I've ever done it, except maybe in the olden days, is to train deadlifts with straps. I don't do that. Number one, because my deadlift setup is,
Yep.
it's dynamic. But number two is like, look, what is my goal for deadlifts? Is my goal to use deadlifts as an exercise to strengthen my posterior chain, or is it, it's a competition lift? I need to get better at the competition lift. And so people will use straps to do the first. They'll use straps to, they really want to strengthen their posterior chain. That's terrific. But for me, it's the comp focus. I mean, it's not to say that I'll never do it, but at the moment, it's not my preference.
There's trap
Even
bars.
with trap bar deadlifts. Trap bar deadlifts. No, actually, trap bar deadlifts is different. That's different. I'll do deficits. I put 2 mats down and do 2 mat deficit with the Alico trap bar, which is a low handle model anyway, because it teaches me to really reach with my arms, and it gives me that, trains that fast drive off the floor for my squats. And it's a very awesome core exercise. Got to be really careful, though, to make sure that you do it properly every single rep, because you can hurt your back very easily. But that's a continuous one for me. But again, I don't use straps on that one. Just bare hands. I can't be bothered. It's it's laziness. I can't be bothered with fussing around with straps.
Like that. How did you get so strong, Peter? Well, I'm kind of lazy, so I can't be bothered
It's true. It's true. And I was going to say before that, I was going to say, to be brutally honest about my lack of success with bench press, it's really is my own fault, because I hate training my upper body. I'll do lower body anything. You give me lower body anything, I'll love it. I'll eat it up. I just adore it. But I hate training my upper body.
I think that's I was talking to someone about this a few times. This has come up about Australian lifters in particular, and because what we do growing up for sport is all lower body. Like, we run. We don't play sports where we throw a lot or use upper body strength, or and we don't and we're not a wrestling country either. It seems all the best bench presses come from upper body sports. Normally there's some throwing, or they're ex-wrestlers. And that,
Kayakers, in the case of Hannah
well,
Altman.
you
She's
know,
a champion
kayaking is
kayaker.
just a bench press on top of a deadlift done really fast. Like I worked with some Olympic, like the Olympic kayak program here in Australia, because it's the upper body movement is you're jamming into the water, and then this hand over the top is just bench pressing. Like you look at kayakers, their chests are they're jacked. Those guys are so overdeveloped through the chest, and so it ends up being bench press, bench pull, deadlift, and chin ups are their key exercises. I tried to get a couple of them to come across to do bench only meets because they'll dominate. They have no legs, so they got a great body weight coefficient for it, and they're all, these guys at 75 to 80 kilos, they're all benching 180 to 200, and it's not their sport. Bench pressing isn't their sport.
Oh my God. It's one of their training methods, right? It's one of their strength training things rather than a sport in itself. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, so look, I do admit that a lot of it is my own
but
fault.
we make great deadlifters.
I do tricep stuff, and I do bicep stuff, and of course I do quite a bit of back work, but the actual army stuff.
And then you find someone that's really into bench pressing. They're going, "Oh, here's the three different exercises I use for the lateral head of my triceps." Like they'll break everything down. This is for the long head of biceps. This is for the short head.
Yes. There's a guy at Zero. His name's Cooper, and he is phenomenally strong. Strong. He's a bench presser. It's his speciality. He doesn't do any other lifts. And I often see him in there on a Sunday when we're kind of training at the same time, and he is always circling around the cable machine, and he'll do one bicep exercise, and then he'll do another sort of bicep exercise, and then he'll do a tricep, and then he'll do another bicep exercise, and then he'll do another tricep exercise. He just hits his arms and his shoulders and his chest just in so many different ways, and he's there for an hour and a half, and he just plows through it all, and he's huge. One time I asked him, I said, "Oh my God, would you mind if I just touch your chest?" And he goes, "No, be my guest." So I went, wow.
Let's put this in.
See, when you get old,
right?
you can do
things
like that.
a female masters lifter can get away with.
Oh dear. Crazy. And I've watched him train, and I'd try and go, "Oh, okay. Oh, that's how you do that exercise. Oh, righto. If I should ever want to do it."
I can't get over that. Can I touch your chest? Do you mind if can I just watch you work out? Just don't mind me. I'll be staring creepily, but
yeah. I do. I love watching. It's like when you were saying, there's a joy and a pleasure in watching somebody do a downward dog where they're engaging their whole body in the exercise, right? So I love watching people train. Yeah, just it's wow. It's just magic, the way the body can move.
It really is, isn't it?
How strong people are.
Hey, I realized that we got sidetracked when we started talking about sport aerobics. So I want to go back to sport aerobics. Tell me a bit more about sport aerobics, how you got into it, how is it just that you really love sports where you have to wear spandex onesies? Is that the thing? They're not onesies. They look like,
for a start.
What are they?
No, they're not onesies.
Like, how many pieces are they? Right.
Well, you can have a 2-piece. Now, I am going back to my time in the sport, right? So the the International Gymnastics Federation, for the international level competition, they have, a set of rules. There's an Australian federation which has a set of rules. Now, back in my day,
Back in my day.
I'm talking about the 90s, right?
Yep.
Back in my day, yeah. It's a horrible expression, isn't it? But back when I was doing it in the 90s, the rules may have been different. Okay, they may have evolved over time, like rules do. Rules do. But I had several leotards. Some of them were onesies. Yes, they were all G-stringed.
Yep.
So they were all G-stringed up the butt.
And they're really high on the sides, weren't they?
And to make your legs longer, yes. And we used to wear Spanx. Sorry, not Spanx. People who know would go, that's supportive underwear. No,
Slinks.
Not Spanx. Slinks. We used to wear Slinks tights, which had a lovely kind of tanny kind of colour and were quite solid and they weren't thick like nurses' stockings, but they had a sheen to them. Everybody loved Slinks tights, and you wore those with a pair of short white socks and a pair of Reebok Princess shoes, which allowed you to still get a toe point, and so the look was just amazing. I because I was a sole parent at the time. My kids were really young, like crikey, I think Hugh was around 4. Jamie was about 2. I seem to remember him still being in nappies actually at the time I took up sports aerobics. And I would buy really cheap costumes, and then I would sew all the sequins on.
Like how many sequins we're talking
my
about?
Costume.
Like hundreds, or
I would just sit there at night on the couch watching TV and just just sewing on these sequins. So I lifted. I competed as a mixed pair, an MP, in a mixed pair, and so I would do his sequins as well, and that was one way that we could keep our costs down with our costuming, because it's reminds me so much of powerlifting, and every time SBD has a new drop or A7 has a new drop, right? Everybody has to buy it, okay? And so in those days, you would have a new costume for every competition, and we competed quite a bit. We also did a lot of demonstration work, so we would go into shopping
I remember seeing people like you in shopping malls bouncing around, and with the permanent. Did you do that permanent smile? You got how hard?
Yeah, except our coach. Our coach was Wendy Sheldrake. She was an Australian champion, right? And all the awesome, just as today in powerlifting, right? All of the really awesome elite lifters are like 2 feet tall and
of course
5 feet broad, right? Okay, so in sports aerobics, they're all, because it's very ballistic type stuff, and right, you're bouncing around the stage, right? So the really good ones were short and very lean, and my partner and I, Richard and I, we were very tall, so we were amongst the tallest of the athletes in that particular Reebok competition. I've gone off track. I can't remember where I was going with that. But anyway,
you were sewing sequins.
We were going to.
That's right. Yep.
Do demonstrations, and I remember one very memorable, actually 2 very memorable demonstrations. We did one. One was in a nightclub. Actually, we did a lot of demos in nightclubs, but this particular nightclub had a raised stage, great lighting, which we checked out beforehand, But what we hadn't realised is that when the lights went down and all the surrounding lights went down in the kind of pubby type area, right? All the lights were then shining on the stage, and the stage was set in the middle, so lights all around, right? So we started off our routine, and then I did a spin, and I lost the front. I lost where I was in place because there was nothing to reference to. Nothing to reference to. So because the lights were all shining, I couldn't see anything off that stage area. Nothing. It was black. And so I'm like kind of walking around going, where's the front? Where's the front? And Richard's kind of grabbing me. And at first he stood there. And I bloody went off my head at him like it was his fault. But Richard was kind of looking at me like this. Anyway, then he came to and grabbed me, and we managed to finish the routine. But oh my God, that was crazy. A second one was memorable one was oh God, was we were down on the Gold Coast, and we had to do a demo in an open area, in a park area. Okay. So we're talking about on grass, which is down on the coast. It's like built on sand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, that kind of sand over grass type of thing, right? And so doing our routine and whatever, it wasn't too bad. And then we get to the groundwork where we had to kind of do a straddle sit. So you get into a straddle position, or you're on the ground. You have to put your hands down in front, and then you lift your body up, and you turn, and then you move on. Anyway, it still makes me shiver to think about it. I landed on a pile of black ants.
Oh, bugger!
I did. And you know where they were biting, don't you? I was in agony. Finished the routine, right? You never give up on a deadlift, right? Finished that fucking routine, and then it was days of agony. Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah, and that's the thought of it still raises that reaction in my body, you know, that where your whole body just has that frisson, that tingling of the ant venom going into your body.
Oh, wow.
But with the smile plastered on the face, Wendy Sheldrake, our coach, would always go off at me because she said, "Peter, you've got to change your expression. You've got to make sure that you're alternating between smiling and not smiling." And okay, so in the end, I had what she termed the fish face. So it would be something. I have to look into the camera. It'd be something like this.
So if you're listening if you're just listening and don't have the video for this one, I don't know how to describe what Peter's doing right now, but if I was watching sport aerobics, I would be concerned. Just go, what is this woman feeling right now?
So part of the artistic, because when you do dance aerobics or sports aerobics, you're judged on, obviously your technical performance, the execution of the stuff. You're judged on the kind of choreography. You're judged on the difficulty of the moves, right? And you're judged on like presentation kind of stuff, right? And so. And so, Richard and I weren't very good. Okay, we were not very good in comparison to all the other people in Australia, because we did actually get to compete in a national competition. We won Queensland States by default, simply because the other mixed pair that we were competing against, they did an illegal lift. And they knew that they were going to do an illegal lift, and Richard and I could hear them out the back going on stage talking about still doing the illegal lift, because their egos were so huge that they were like, "Oh yes, but we're so much better than Peter and Richard, we'll still win." Because I didn't. So we got to go to Nats, and of course we came dead last. But that was an experience in itself. It was a lot of fun. But the way I got into it was I just moved to Brisbane. I just had number 2 baby, so Jamie. So Hugh's now 36 and Jamie's now 34. So, we're going back some time now. And I wanted to get back into some kind of exercise. And the gym down the road was perfect. It was Bodyworks gym. And on the south side here, they had child mining services. So it was perfect. And it had 2 pools, one big pool and one smaller pool where, I thought, the kids will have fun in there when they get older kind of thing, which they did. They basically taught themselves how to swim, those 2, and spend more time underwater, swimming underwater, coming up for air, and then going back down again. But it was a great, super place. I loved that gym. I ended up taking on a traineeship there, actually, and working behind the counter as well. But that's where I grew my love for aerobics. Used to do, I'd do like 5 classes a week or something, as many classes. I'd often do doubles. So you do your 9 o'clock class and then you do the 10 o'clock, and then sometimes you'd stay along for the 11 o'clock abs and butt class. You know what I mean?
Do you remember what sort of
Did you remember what sort
of classes were back in those days? Because I'm guessing 90s, that's pre-Les Mills or start of Les Mills?
This was pre-Les Mills. Yeah, this was pre-Les Mills. So it was all choreographed by the group exercise instructor, the gal. And, various types, the high impact dance aerobic stuff to the low impact with light hand weights kind of body sculpt classes, we used to call them, body sculpt. Then there, and step aerobics, step classes. Oh, God, I love step aerobics.
Great finding over your little step in the middle there. That always used to freak me out.
Oh, that's a very basic move, Nathan.
Great finding on a step is quite challenging for some of us.
Anywho, so I started participating in that. Then we got into the sports aerobic stuff. When I finished with the sports aerobic stuff, I did my Cert 3 in fitness, and then started taking classes myself. So I was a group exercise leader, teaching group exercise classes for 16 years.
Wow.
It's what put the roof over our heads and the food on the table, because of course, well before then, my ex-husband, we'd parted ways, and he was total CVNT, shall I say. He was a CVNT.
Someone that you would only ever want to meet on a Tuesday. So when you say, I'll see you next Tuesday.
That's one. He was actually an alcoholic, a raging alcoholic, and there's a big backstory behind there, which maybe one day I'll tell you about. But anyway, so I was on my own. So that's how I paid the rent, was teaching group exercise. So for 15, 16 years, I taught 7 days a week. Sundays every 4 weeks were my choreography day. This is again pre-Les Mills, so I would do my choreography and plan out for the next month. I'd do 4 weeks of choreography, so I'd be in the lounge room pretending I had a step, or just doing the high aerobics stuff, and practicing, and I would build my classes. Right, well, this is what I'm going to teach the first week, this block of choreography. Then the second week we'll review week 1, and we'll add on new choreo for week 2, and then same for week 3, and by week 4 we would run it all together, and it was a blast, Nathan, a blast. God, I loved it.
Yeah, right.
I loved it, and but it was very, very hard going on the body. So I was I weighed quite lightly. I was in the low 60 kilos in body weight at that time. Yeah, and Tuesdays were actually the six classes in the single day. So I would do a combination of land classes and aqua aerobics
really?
classes.
How much fun do
and I would
the
travel.
aquarobics look so
Yep.
much fun? Oh,
Mate, they didn't have fun with me, and that's why they love me, because
yeah,
they
okay.
kept coming back. So I was really lucky to teach at some really awesome pools. So my main pools were out at Chandler, where they do, the Olympics, and they've done the Commonwealth Games, and they do major Australian championships and stuff out at Chandler, right? So they've got this huge diving pool, and then they've got the 50-metre pool, and then they've got a waist-deep community pool, or the P pool, as we used to call it then.
Yeah.
And so we do, I do a deep water class where they wear little flotation belts around their waists, and that is extremely intense cardio work. And then I might go and do a follow-up class in the community pool, where it was, there's a reasonable amount of weight still going through the body, through the legs and the feet, but it does give people a lot more buoyancy if they've got kind of knee issues or whatever. And I worked freaking hard. They loved it. They just kept coming back for more. So, you'd have to have your music. You have to buy your music. So I had, and I've still got heaps. There's a little set of drawers behind me. It's full of CDs and choreography notes from years ago. Yes, I did that for a long time, and then suddenly realised I got to a certain age, and I thought, oh shit, I've got no superannuation. What am I going to do? And every time I'm sick, I don't get paid because it's casual work, and there are expenses. So by that time, Les Mills programs had come in, and you've got to buy your Les Mills program whenever they're released, and decide what programs you're going to teach. And my speciality, in the end, after all the freestyle aerobics finished for me, it was purely Les Mills stuff, all the pre-choreographed stuff. So I never had to do my own choreo, but you have to learn the choreography. So I would have the CD for a new release. I got so good at it, Nathan, that you just pick it up just like that. So I'd be driving to the gym for my job. Oh, we're going to do the new release tonight. I would have the CD in the car and the choreography open on the passenger seat next to me. And every time there was a red light, I'd look at the choreography. I'd go right, and I'd be playing the music. And by the time I got to that gym 20 minutes later, the choreography would be impressive. In my head.
That's super impressive.
It was years of practice. And I still dream. I'll wake up dreaming that I'm standing on the stage teaching people body pump. I still dream of it. And every time there's a song that comes on at the gym, which is a body pump song, I'll be going, oh, that's a bicep track, or that's a lunge track.
And you hear the tempo track. Changes and go, that's when we went from halves to fulls, or that's when,
Yes.
I've done.
You're very familiar with it.
I've tried. Yes. There's nothing in a. I don't think there's anything in a gym that I haven't tried. So I've done. My favorite was what's the one that was kind of yoga-ish and Tai Chi-ish? Body balance.
Yeah.
Body balance.
Sorry?
In the Les Mills suite.
The body balance one is the yoga.
Yeah, what did I'm trying to remember. I did.
Which I never.
I did body. I've done body
one.
pump, body attack, body balance.
Yeah.
And what's the step one?
Yeah. There's.
I think was that
step?
it? I think so. Yeah. And the attack one was kind of like Tybo.
Yeah, I didn't.
Do you remember Tybo with Billy Banks?
I do. I do remember Tybo. You know why? Because
I
actually teach it for a while. Yes, I've taught all sorts of things. I've taught kettlebell classes. There was a franchise called Kettleworks from the States, and then they came out and trained a whole lot of us over here in Australia, and we started teaching kettlebell classes.
What year was that?
Fucking fun. So much fun.
Sort of mid 2010s?
I could look in the drawer. I could look in the drawers there for some choreography notes, but I don't think they've got the years on them. But
I ran group kettlebell classes as well.
a long time ago.
Yeah, the kettlebell. I loved kettlebells when they came out. It was so much fun. So much fun.
Yep, heaps, and really, really challenging work. So I taught two of the choreographed, and they were pre-choreographed. So the high energy one and the slower one. So the high energy one required me to be extremely fit. I have never been so fit cardiovascularly in my life. That's when I had to introduce plyometric training into my own training in those days, because not only do you have to deliver the classes, but you have to focus on your own fitness in order to get up there on the stage and smile.
You do that so well.
as the
Right.
as the music is at 150, 160 beats a minute, and you're doing all of this extraordinary stuff, leading the class, telling them which way to go, cueing what movement is coming up next, so knowing what's going on. So you have to have your brain turned on, and motivating them, and then telling jokes
all the
way through the. It's just, you have to be so fit. So I did plyometric training, and of course strength training in the gym and whatever. So,
how do you?
It was a lot more upper. I have to say, a lot more upper body.
How do you think a modern powerlifter, one of these young powerlifters that you see at Zero every night, how do you think they would go into body pump clothes? Wouldn't that be fun to watch?
Die.
Wouldn't it be fun?
I would die now.
Just body pump for powerlifters. How much fun would you have? Just watching people go, what do you, how many reps? What? Just falling on the floor.
What do you mean you don't recommend putting more than 20 kilos on that bar? I actually had powerlifters come in. I distinctly remember one particular girl who came into the Morningside gym, and you always have to kind of, you go around and before the class starts, you go, who's new, and you have a chat with them, what their experience is, if they have any injuries that you need to kind of be aware of, all that kind of pre-exercise screening type stuff that you've got to do in like 1 minute flat. And she said, I lift really heavy weights. And I said, well, you do realize that when you come in here, we do a lot of repetitions, and therefore we need to keep the bar weight very low. So, okay, all right. So I said, for example, for your squat, I said I would not recommend going any heavier than 20 kilos kind of thing. What was I lifting? I was lifting around 20 kilos. I had it's about 20 kilos. But you do so many repetitions over the course of a, three and a half minute song. And she fucking died. And then, bicep track. So I looked at her pointedly and said, make sure you keep the bar weight nice and low. So she whacks on like 20 kilos onto this bar, and I've got like, 10, whatever. And she did about the first 10 seconds of the song, and then she put the bar down, she went, fuck this, and she walked out.
Oh my gosh.
It was hysterical. I restrained myself from calling to her over the microphone, I told you so.
I remember,
All of the people around her in the class, they were all like, we heard Peter telling you to keep it nice and light, and you didn't listen to her.
I remember those bicep tracks going light, like having almost nothing on the bar and getting halfway through and just going, this is stupid. It's like,
my arms are going to fall
got like
off.
maybe 5 or 10 kilos total, but I've just done 100 reps. And now, like you feel like the skin's going to split because there's so much blood tied up in there, and you're just like, what do I? And then between tracks, you go, where do I put my arms? What do I do with my arms now? This hurts too much. This is horrible.
Yes. Anyway, that was like, that was really, the show must go on stuff, right? So you have strategies. I had strategies. It's like, freaking heck, I can't do any more reps. What am I going to do? And so I'd put the bar down and say, keep going. And I would walk around the room and encourage people, actually be down on the floor with them. And that was a rest. Then I get back up onto the stage and continue the rest of the track. So that was the occasional strategy that I had to employ. But basically, the show must go on, and you were there for every single bloody rep, the same as they were down on the floor. And, smiling and joking and educating them, because, there was a lot of, I like to educate people a lot while they were lifting. And it's a lot of fun. But I had to give it away because I started in 2015, as you know, I started powerlifting. And I very soon realised that the two styles of training do not mix. Plus, there's the body pump squat, which took me years to
not really a
out
squat, is
my
it?
body.
As what we would recognise. It's a rapid knee bend with a little bit of a hinge at the waist.
Yeah, well, the messaging from Les Mills programmers was that you must not let your participants squat lower than parallel because it will hurt their knees. When in fact, it's entirely the opposite. The shearing forces that are operating through the knee with parallel squats are extraordinary. It's like, oh my God.
I kept on doing...
Things change. But back in those days, the whole focus
it was, wasn't it?
Being thin. Yeah. Because it was all about weight loss. It was all about
and somehow you could elongate a muscle. You can make it longer. It's like, okay, cool. I just want to tone and lengthen my muscles and go, all right, so we're going to cut you open and surgically reattach your bicep somewhere else to make it longer. Okay, we can do that. All within the 45-minute class. No problem.
Oh, look, the bullshit.
Right.
The bullshit that they came out with, and we all drank the Kool-Aid.
I'll tell you a body pump story about the squats real quick, because I had, I stayed doing body pump for about 18 months after I started powerlifting as well. I'd do it once a week and just jump in. And
wow.
I really loved my gym. It was owned by a woman named Cindy Kempton, who still owns it today, owns a bunch of gyms in the Northwest, has done incredibly well for herself. And so I just used to jump into anything because I didn't pay for a membership. So I had this idea that if I wasn't paying, then I should do everything, because then it would be more free. It made sense in my head. And a former student of mine who tragically passed away a long time ago now, anaphylactic shock, peanut allergy. But Kylie's thing, Kylie ended up becoming an instructor, and she would do ass to grass squats every single rep. She perfected the technique of being able to drop into a squat really fast and come out of it. And she was pretty short.
She this tall?
Yeah. So I used to go in and I'd do the squat track without weight, because I was heavy enough as it was, and I'd try and do close to full range reps just without the bar on my back. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Because couldn't put a bar on, because they're really narrow. Those bars were quite narrow. I couldn't get it on my back anyway. So I just thought, well, if I do this with really good form and try and keep up with what the instructors are doing, but I'm using no weight, then I should be good. And so that was my cardio, because it was too hot outside to do cardio.
Oh God. Yeah, I've got this thing in my head where don't laugh at me. where when I'm in Christchurch for the Oceanias, that I probably will do it. I probably will. Is that I have always wanted to go to the Les Mills gym and do a body pump class. So I think I'm still.
I walked past that gym in 2007,
and then I will die.
I walked past that gym in 2007. I've seen it. It was really close to our hotel. I didn't go in though. By that stage, I had no desire to try any more Les Mills. It's like, I'm done with this. I'm out.
You learn some common sense. It was such a lot of fun. God, I loved it. I was really sad when I actually resigned and said, that's it. I'm not doing anymore. I'm going to focus on this powerlifting thing.
How do you think it's
And
informed powerlifting for you?
people were like, she's what? Powerlifting? She's crazy. And look at the weight she's put on.
So how do you think sport aerobics
Anyway,
or aerobics, being a teacher, how's that informed powerlifting for you?
Informed. Well, in a huge way, Nathan, is I do not feel any fear about getting up on a stage and performing under lights in front of a camera. In fact,
You like it, don't you?
give it. I love it. I love being the center of attention. Okay, I love it when I'm doing what I love. Yeah. And the more people in the audience for cheering you on, the heavier you can lift. The more confidence you have. I just love that pickup, that vibe you get from the audience. So hence I like to try and encourage some audience participation. And so that's a big take home from the sports aerobics days. The second is you are not too old. You're never too old to try something new physically. I guess the same would extend to mental training as well. Obviously, if you want to
never change your mind. Make it fixed.
Or do a degree in whatever. Do a
Why?
neuroscientist degree. So it's like it's have a go.
How old were you when you switched over to powerlifting?
Who cares how old you are? I was 50.
55, yeah.
55.
And so I'm going to come back around to that. We're kind of where we started from about this thing of raising the standard for what masters are doing. You are like, I am so impressed that you are still hitting all-time PRs and rep PRs. Like,
oh yeah, so am I.
Right?
It's crazy,
we
isn't it?
keep on saying it's crazy, but people like you, Stephen Varady, I know, is regularly setting lifetime PRs as well. And there's Rick Lewis is the same.
Rick Lewis.
I'm going, I think maybe we all got it wrong years ago. And it's very possible. Because the three of you are like pretty consistently still pushing the all-time bar. It's not like, oh, it's good for my age or whatever. It's like they're just big numbers.
Yeah, the only important number, it's not your age. The only important number for me is the number that's on the bar. Okay? That's why I keep saying, why should 60-plus-year-old people, why shouldn't the bar be set here, not down here? I detest it when people say to me, you're such an inspiration, because that to me is just so, I know they're not trying to be patronizing, Nathan, and their intention, it comes from a good place, I'm sure. But being the recipient of, oh yeah, so inspiring, it's like, it's not inspiring unless you don't lift weights and you want to get into the gym and start trying out lifting weight stuff, whether it be for powerlifting or whether it be for, whatever reason you have to want to get into the gym and get stronger. Why should people be surprised that 60-plus-year-old people can lift heavy shit? It should be the norm.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. I love that. Yes. We should see really... yes. Yep. I'm with you on that one, Peter.
Yeah. And as I said earlier in the session today, that the latest research, I wish I could tell you the reference. It was something on Instagram, right? But there's some guy that does all. He likes doing all of the stats kind of stuff, and every now and then, periodically, he'll put out some of his findings. And that last one was, the biggest growth in powerlifting sport has been in the 60-plus-year-old group. It's like, yeah.
So how do we get
Bring it.
more 60 plus on the platform then, or more? Actually, this is an interesting idea.
Such a
right?
niche sport, mate.
Ben Wright and I, we talk about this a lot about disabled sports, and one of our big motivators is we just want to see people in wheelchairs in gyms. That's it. It doesn't matter if they're going to the Olympics or they're setting records or big stuff. We just want people in wheelchairs to occupy that space. I want the same for masters lifters, and I want the same, and it's like what we wanted for female lifters back when I started in strength sports, because there was normally one woman out there. There'd be 20 guys, and most of the guys were all kind of the same age, and I was the young guy, and there'd be me and a couple of young guys, and there'd be one woman, and it was so impressive. Right.
That would be Bev Francis. That would be Bev Francis.
And it was always so super impressive what this one lady was lifting, and it's like, holy crap, why aren't more women doing this? Now we see what it looks like when you get a lot more women into the sport, and the numbers now are insane, aren't they?
Well, yes, and that same group of statistics that I was talking about before, where the 60-plus-year-old participation is the fastest growing percentage growth. The component of women that's also grown exponentially. But when you look at the work that Powerlifting Australia does, for example, I don't know about other countries, but when you look at the kinds of things that they do, they are out there actively.
Yeah, we've got
running events. They're actively demonstrating stuff. They're going out there and presenting the sport out there in the community. Well, what do we do in powerlifting? We expect
we hide away, don't we?
People to come to.
Yeah.
We come in instead of like para powerlifting. They reach out. So maybe that's one thing. One thing that kind of sort of annoys me. Yes, we've got the Masters Championships, but mate, they put the Masters Championships for IPF, the World Championships, they put them in these ridiculous places. Like right now, it's in Cape Town, which I have always wanted to go to, but I couldn't afford to do. I had to choose, and there's also the timing. So the World Championships are now, and then the Oceanias is in like 5 weeks' time. Now, I had to choose. I also wanted to take a break. I've got some long service leave coming from work, so I decided, okay, my focus is not going to be World Championships. It's going to be Oceanias, and I've got a car organised, and I'm going to do a self-drive trip around the South Island. I'm really looking forward to that holiday. But next year, for example, IPF Masters World Championships, as you know, is in Reno. It's like I really don't think that we should be going to.
Yeah, we've spoken about this. I'm with you 100% on that.
Political situation. I really don't think it's right that money should be going that way. Plus, there's the difficulty of certain people who may not actually get into the country because, the TSA looks at this. They look at your phone, right? And they want to know what your password is, and they want to look into your social media, and they want to know what you're into. And like, I get into so many anti-Trump. Even just mentioning on this podcast, who knows? TSA might have a look. Travel
denied.
But I would never be able to get the country. Okay.
This is true.
So, but Reno, it's like, and the previous World Championships was in Sun City in South Africa again. It's like, why are we hiding away masters, lifters, masters athletes who are doing some extraordinary stuff? You're seeing all these world records still being set. There's crazy stuff happening out there with, the M4 lifters, etc., etc. And why are we hiding away? Who should be out there? Like, why isn't there? Oh God, why isn't there an SBD Cup for masters? So there's an SBD SBD Cup happening. SBD, the major sponsor of powerlifting for the Australian Powerlifting Alliance team, and they're having a major event, major competition happening in 10 days' time or something, a couple of weeks. Why
That's a
isn't
good
there one for
point.
Masters?
That's really...
But then again, to be really fair, you'd be going, well, why isn't there an SBD Cup for juniors and sub-juniors? So, swings and roundabouts.
Yep. I think if there's any up-and-coming promoters out there that want to take that on, there's probably room. There's room for it on the calendar, and I think there's demand for it. Don't you think?
You look at the work that Dan Carpenter, who's the president of APL, you look at the work that he does for APL. APL is huge in Queensland, absolutely enormous, and growing numbers. New South Wales, well, across the country, growing numbers. They recently had their national championships in Melbourne at this huge venue. And, their merchandise, they were selling T-shirts and whatever. And I hear that, total sales of, I might be wrong, but total sales of just T-shirts alone over that event, over the 2 or 3 days that they had it, 3 days, $30,000 in T-shirt sales. They were full to capacity. They had to turn people away from the doors. Big, huge auditorium for spectators. Just 2 platforms operating. I mean, the event was just huge, and I hear from lots of people who actually participated in the comp that it was the best run competition they'd ever attended. Now, they also teed that comp up with, like, it was a big exhibition centre, right? They teed that up with arm wrestling and weightlifting.
Oh, weightlifting actually come and joined a powerlifting thing? That's good. That's positive.
Yeah, in the outside area. And so there were of course stalls and things all related to strength sports and supplements and all that kind of stuff. It was a huge event. And when you think of the reach of just that one event into, the community, that would have set on fire a whole lot of people who will then be going, got to do this, got to get involved in this sport. This looks fantastic, and I'm going to join. That's APL.
Yeah, I really miss those expo comps that we had in Powerlifting Australia in the 2010s. So between, what was it, 2011 to about 2017 or 18, there was a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, Wilksy was really good at organising those.
He was really good at telling people that he organised it. I can tell you who the people that who did the work.
Oh, okay.
But yes, he was very good at taking the credit for all of those sort of things. And but I thought in terms of putting it out to a broader audience, we'd always have like CrossFit, strongman, arm wrestling, bodybuilding, all in the same venue and all under the one roof. It was so much fun.
I remember
it was
those
really
days.
Fun.
I went to those events. It was
I found out you mentioned Tyrannosaurus Rex before, Matthew McKay. He got his start in powerlifting because of one of those fitness expos. He came, So he
really see there you go.
I'll see if I get the story right. I'll probably butcher it. I think he flew across from Tasmania to Melbourne at a comp that myself, Ray Williams, and Brad Gillingham were doing, and that's when apparently I met him that day too. Like Wilkes introduced me to him and shook his hand. And I said, "Hey, yeah, good job." And that's probably why that's why my DM suddenly got flooded by him over the next few years, wanting to know everything about bench pressing. But yeah, that's where Matt McKay came into that, and you see what he's done in terms of inclusion. It's wonderful.
Yeah. He's extra. I can't believe it. I can't believe how strong that
He's good
is.
value. I love what he does with marginalized groups, like non-traditional groups.
With what groups?
Marginalized groups.
With what groups?
So looking at people with special needs, people with mental health requirements, disabled athletes, low income earners, all of the people that powerlifting has traditionally not been able to incorporate. That's where Matt does his best work. He is amazing, absolutely amazing.
Yeah, he strikes me as being as having a very inclusive kind of attitude
Yeah.
and take on the sport. And I was going to say too that the APL Federation, I know they're the competition. I know they're there, but APL, they treat their masters athletes a
Mm-hmm.
little bit differently, and they are celebrated just as much as the opens and the juniors are. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm going to say, the last time I saw, and speaking about powerlifting again, the last time I
Mm-hmm.
saw Harney Watson lift, she did a 3-lift competition actually. It was the last time she ever did a 3-lift competition. And it was at one of those big expos here in Brisbane, at the Brisbane Brisbane Expo Centre at South Bank. Yeah, and it was I was just blown away by how strong she is. And now here she is, she's Commonwealths and she's training for the
Yeah,
Olympics, and it's like, oh
she's
my
in
God,
Cairo
she's incredible.
right now as
And
well.
she's such a big spokesman for the sport. Yes, she is. Yeah, yeah. Showing us the obligatory pyramids videos and things.
Yeah.
I'm jealous. I'm just saying. I'm just
Yeah,
so
I had
jealous.
one fella that a bench presser from Washington DC that I train. He just spent the last 2 weeks in Egypt, and I see all his photos of the pyramids and the Sphinx and all that. And now the Aussie para team are there as well. So I'm getting more photos of the Sphinx and the pyramids, and I just think they're not real. I think they've gone to a movie set.
Yeah, it's a bit like that, isn't it? It's really weird. It just seems surreal to think, oh gosh, there's a person that I know standing
Yeah.
in front of the
Oh, look, that's the
pyramids.
Great Pyramid. Okay, cool.
Yeah, lucky
Yeah,
guys.
biggest, and I think it's the biggest team Australia's ever sent to a world championship. I think 13 lifters all up. Yeah.
Oh, is it? See, there you go. That's a reflection on how successful
Well, I
they
think
are in
that's
promoting their sport,
yeah,
their arm of the sport, if you like, in the community, because
that's
they work
a
hard
lot
at it.
of work by like a small group of people for a very long time to get to that point. Like a lot of work. And it's just a lot of consistent effort as well. It's these things take time. And unfortunately, when we're getting into
Indeed.
masters or disabled sports and stuff like that, the pool on which we get to draw on is much smaller. It's not like, and it
It's
should,
getting
and
bigger,
we want to make
Nathan.
it bigger, but like open powerlifting, 23 to 40, everybody's out there in a gym. Like that's the major gym time in people's lives. Everybody wants to be lifting weights. It's a little bit trickier to get somebody above the age of 50 or with a permanent disability interested in going, hey, come and try this thing that mostly young people do.
Yeah, obviously my view of the world is a bit skewed in terms of, like, for example, my social media. I do follow quite a lot of, um, I follow all the spectrum of age groups across powerlifting because I love the sport. I love seeing how people progress and succeed, and maybe have their step backs, and then recover and come forward and succeed again and achieve their goals and all that kind of stuff. I love seeing that, and the social media platform, the Instagram stuff is really really helpful for that. But I do have to, admit, of course, that I do follow a lot of masters athletes, and so I recognise that my view may be skewed, but
Yeah.
there's a lot
Yep.
of us around. There's a lot of us, 50 plus, lifting, 50s,
Yes.
60s, 70s, doing extraordinary things.
I think you've hit on a really important piece there is I think once you start being very intentional like you are and finding all the masters lifters, yes, there's a lot out there. I think from an outsider's perspective, though, like looking in, because masters tend to not be so extroverted or post as much, it looks like there's not that many people involved until you really, really, look into it and go, oh crap, there's a lot of masters here.
What I hate seeing, just between you and me, but what really gets on my wick though, is when people will post, them doing an extraordinary lift or whatever, and they'll post their age on top of the video.
Ooh.
52 years old, or 74 years old. I'm like, the closest I ever get to doing that is I'll put a hashtag on my post, which is hashtag Masters Powerlifting 60 to 69. And of course in my bio it says how old I am, but there is no way on God's earth I'll be posting anything that says, look at me, I'm 66 years old. Isn't this crazy? Oh, it gives me the shivers. I don't know why. I really think it's because of that concept in, why should the bar be set down here? It should be up here. But then again, these people are doing that. I just don't know why they go 52 years old.
It's like we lower the bar so we can feel special. When you go, no, keep the bar high. It's still good what you're doing.
I think only number that matters is the one on the bar. I don't care how fucking old you are.
Tell me then, what do you think of the phrase or the sentence starter, not bad for a?
Oh, not bad for a woman. Not bad for an old person. Not bad for a 60-year-old. Oh, again, it's just so
it's icky,
so patronising, isn't it?
I remember Liz Craven long time ago when she deadlifted 200 kilos for the first time. She said to me, "Yeah, not bad for her." I think she said, and she put a whole lot of qualifiers in. I've gone, Liz, 200 kilos is fucking heavy. If you can pull that from the ground, that's just 200 kilos is strong no matter what. Doesn't matter if you're light, heavy, old, young, male, female. 200 kilos is a lot of weight to pick up. And I'd love to see that come through more parts of the sport, that we don't have to put the qualifier and go, oh, this is really good for a under 63 kilo lifter. I go, if it's good, it's going to be good. You don't need the weight class or your age or your gender.
Look, the weight class thing.
I disagree. I disagree. I think that's one of the worst things that we do in strength is we start talking about relative strength. I hate it.
Oh, mate. All right, because my dots, we talk about relative strength, we're talking about dots, and my dots are appalling because I'm so fat.
Yet you're bloody strong.
The absolute load. The absolute load is I think is what matters. But when you've got like a Heather O'Connor, for example, she's a 47 kilo lifter or something, and she's deadlifting 230 kilos. It's like that is fucking impressive. That is more impressive to me than somebody who's weighs 113 kilos and she pulls 230
See, I think anybody that can pull 230 kilos is impressive. Even if it's a 170 kilo guy, I think anybody lifting heavy weights is impressive. So I jump on that. The other one, I know Daniel Macri, and I'm not always sure if I believe this or not, but he always says, if you need a calculator to tell people you're strong, maybe you need to train more.
Oh dear. Yeah, I don't know. It's just that we compete in weight class sports, so why wouldn't the weight class be?
But we also compete in age categories as well. So if the age isn't relevant, then the weight class isn't relevant either.
Of course we do. Yeah. Well, that's why I'm kind of saying the only number that matters is the one on the bar, and that's why we look down on. That's actually why we look down on, conversely, is because it's like, you've got a 30-year-old who can squat 200 for 5 reps, for example, and she weighs 69 kilos. It's like, And that would be I don't think I'd ever be able to squat 160 kilos as much as I train. It's pie in the sky stuff. But, that's in fact why we get looked down on. But I was going to say, the weight class stuff is important, because have you caught up on the fracas that's happening with the bodybuilding stuff? Is it the Olympia competition where they compete in height classes?
Yeah, yep.
Height and weight. You see, you've got a capped weight for a certain height class, and I don't know what the class names are, but if you go above, say, 5'8", then you're an open competitor. I'm really not au fait with the classes, but that's all of a sudden become so important to them that they're remeasuring all of the competitors coming up into this very major bodybuilding competition, and apparently a whole lot of them are having to take diuretics, and they're not going to be on their best physical look. They'll be flat and whatever, and of course, taking diuretics and probably the huge amounts that they'll probably need to get cut down into their weight class. Now that they've done all the remeasuring of heights and whatever,
that's dangerous.
Really not healthy.
That's how all those 90s bodybuilders died. Was taking diuretics, like guys like Andres Munzer and was it Momo Benazir and a few top pros. I'm showing how much I loved bodybuilding in the 80s and 90s. It's diuretics that diuretics is the dangerous thing in most of these sports. Much more dangerous than steroids or stimulants. Which aren't great, and I'm against. But the diuretics are really dangerous.
I always wonder about Warney. Remember how Warney was? Yeah,
he got done for diuretics.
He did, and I wonder if that was if he was doing that while he was on holidays, just to make himself look a little bit skinnier to get into his bathers or something.
Well, that was his excuse, that it was vanity that he did it for. That it wasn't a masking agent for steroids coming back from injury. It was just he was going through his skinny phase where he looked really good, and he just wanted to look good all the time. I'm like, okay, sure, why not?
Poor man. Anyway, mate, look, it's I've got to get a moving, and let you get a moving. What are you planning for the rest of the weekend?
It is sunny here in Perth, and we had a really long winter with a lot of rain. So the Tulip Festival has just started. So late bloom for the Tulip Festival. So we're going to go have a look at that, which should be really amazing today.
Very, very nice. Is that
it's at a place called Araluen, out in the hills.
Oh, okay. Not.
No, it's about 45 minutes out of town. It's a big privately owned botanic garden, and I think their whole year is about making this tulip festival. It's spectacular, really, really good. Mass plantings, big displays,
absolutely glorious.
Yeah, just thousands upon thousands of tulips.
Yeah. That'll be gorgeous. And to get it, actually, it's. I can tell it's hot out there. Brilliant blue sky, not a cloud in the sky. But pretty quiet.
Yeah, right.
Day for me.
Yeah,
resting, getting the shopping, washing,
all
done,
of the
all
good
that kind
stuff.
of boring shit.
And so we'll look. 5 weeks till Oceania's. Training's been going well, so hopefully we'll be seeing. So I would touch wood. Don't worry about bench. Just have a nap.
It's the lie down between.
Yeah, boy, I love hearing that over the years. Come on. Well, good luck in Christchurch, and I hope you enjoy your Les Mills session.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks. A bit scary to be thinking about doing it, but I'll probably just use the bar and that's about it. I'll be trying to do my competition squats and the
This
squat
isn't
track.
working.
And they go, no, Peter. Remember, it's just a 3/4 squat. You don't
You're
have to
just
go all the
practicing
way.
your lockout.
Exactly. Well, it's been absolute pleasure, as it was before, Nathan, to have a chat with you. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate you
You're
asking me
welcome.
again.
It's always fun. I love this, and like you said, we need to find ways of keeping this growth in masters powerlifting going. And I think people like yourself telling your story, not to show how normal you are, but to show how unbelievably weird and crazy your entire life has been, and that powerlifting is a natural extension of that. I think they're the kind of people that we're looking for. We don't want normal people to come in. We're looking for the crazies. So come on in, all you weird, crazy kids.
Oh, dear. I would love it if we could wear Slinks tights on a powerlifting platform. Oh, I would just love it. My legs would look
On that note, I'm hitting
darling.
stop.
Okay.